do you choose films based on now with you want to work with your friends?
Well, I have kids now, so that's once you have kids, that really becomes your priority. I have so many great friends that I just don't see that often because we're on different cycles. You know, their kids are at different ages than mine or live in a different area. So the family is really, and your kids become the calling card. You know, it's always funny. I thought of a movie idea with this, which is when your kids are real young, they're a lot of work. Like me and my wife didn't have any help. It was just me and her, which
Really?
Well, that's how I grew up, so I liked it like that. As they got older and I would leave for movies, we'd have people who kind of can help her driving and stuff. But I found that like you're so desperate to have other people that have kids your age because it's a lot of work. So when the kids get to be 3 or 4, if you meet other people with kids the same age, you can hang out, you know, have a glass of wine, whatever, and the kids play together, so that's nice. But all you really have in common is your kids are the same age. And then it feels like a good idea to go on spring break with them because that's easy. You can put the kids can do stuff together and the parents could hang. But then you can realize that you have very different parenting styles.
Ooh. Have you been in some situations like that?
I think everybody has. It's sort of funny. But you're like, is that guy going to tell his son to stop hitting my daughter, or am I going to have to say something? You know what I mean? Like, or is that guy's screaming at his son, he's an inch from his face, or these guys are getting super drunk and falling down in front of their kid. You know, so you just don't know until you go on that trip
what the
parenting and how they roll.
Yeah.
But you know, you kind of hang with them, and I'm sure you know everyone feels that way. So it's sort of something you start to hang out with more people who have kids in your area. Because your kids' schedules are dominating your time. Way more than you would hang out with friends that you had in common through comedy or through other stuff because—
So it's all the kids?
It's all the kids, yeah.
Have you ever been shocked if your kid picks a certain friend and you're like, no, that's not the kid?
I kind of let my kids— I mean, I give them kind of a baseline of things to look for, and then I let them make their mistakes and go through it. But I've been fortunate. My kids, you know, both have pretty good friends. They handle themselves well. I get nice reports that they treat kids good. Yeah, I get texts all the time, or we'll hear stuff saying, "Oh, your daughter walked my daughter out of this situation and was nice to her." So that makes you feel good. But yeah, I think it's not as complicated as people make it, Theo. I think it gets overcomplicated in a city in LA if everyone's competing to get into the right school.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think if it's just a basic idea of how you go about handling stuff, you kind of attract people that share those ideas. But if you're competing all the time, I think you're kind of going to get in a bad situation.
Did you choose a good wife?
I did. Yeah, she's from Canada. She grew up on a farm.
That's where you got to get him.
You're so funny, dude.
The
way you said that was like, that's the secret code.
Well, a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm definitely looking at Canada. Even further, I'll take something that's, you know what I'm saying, that's still on ice.
How far are you going?
I'll take a freaking Inuit. I'll take something that's in the freezer section, you know what I'm saying? Something that hasn't been thawed out by some of these desperate ways of America, you know?
I tell you, you got good and bad people everywhere for sure. But I definitely look for somebody who, you know, I like their base values and how they handle stuff. I think that goes a long way because a lot of parenting is problem solving.
Yeah,
working with each other. Yeah,
and they have good posture up there in Canada. You notice they have the best posture.
I haven't noticed that.
Watch Canadians when they go by. You could barely even see them. They're so
interesting.
Just horizontal, longitudinal.
You'd be even a little surprised you don't see them like Africans with that, like, you know, carrying shit on their head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember that? They always have a basket.
Walking
around real casual. Because their posture was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And someone would even, like, if the ladies would get pissed, they would be like, but not even spilling anything.
Not a drop of nothing.
Not a freaking melon would fall out of the basket. Oh, dude, I remember I went to South Africa a couple times, and you would see a lot of people walking, and that was how they would travel, to stack it on the dome.
I'd never been to South Africa.
Oh, it was so nice.
You liked it?
Yeah, because there's just so much going on, you know? Yeah, just like it's beautiful and amazing, and there's these beaches, and there's all this insane history.
Were you there for a vacation or work?
I went there one time to Johannesburg to do a comedy festival. I went once when I did this thing called Semester at Sea, where you like went as a student like on this boat, and we went there.
Yeah.
And
do you ever go somewhere for work and then say, I want to come back when I have some downtime to hang? That's cool. That's the great thing about our work is you get to travel.
Yeah.
I find that to be a great education.
Oh, yeah, for sure, dude. Going to Vietnam or whatever. I'm trying to think of some other neat places. Yeah, what's a place that you filmed in that you were like, wow, this kind of blew my mind, even if it was an American city?
Yeah, there's been a lot of them. I mean, I remember going, you know, As a kid, getting to go to New York and actually living there was very different for me, obviously, than I lived there for a while.
And you were acting then or not?
I was, yeah. I never really traveled anywhere, bro, until work took me there. Like for us, a vacation was we would get in a station wagon.
Where would y'all go?
We drive to Florida or Arizona.
Dude, Florida.
You try not to get grounded because everyone's hopped up on sugar and shit and you're crowded in. And you try not to get in trouble in the back. But we didn't really, we would drive most places for spring break. I never left. I had relatives in Canada from my mom's side. So we would go up there, but I never went to Europe ever.
Yeah.
Until I had gone for work.
For sure.
Did you?
No, dude, we didn't even know about Europe. The janitor that drew the map on our cement at our school left out 3 states of it, dude. So there was people were like, what is happening? Like,
how does that happen?
They just, they
What were the states? You would know because they didn't put them down.
Yeah, well, I think it was somewhere, some of it, I think Maine, I knew that Maine was missing. I didn't want to call him out because I felt kind of bad for the guy. But anyway, so we weren't going to Europe, dude. No. I remember Canada, they didn't even have it when I was a kid or whatever. They had a picture. I remember in our classroom, they had America.
Yeah.
Because everything was very American then, very we are America. And then they had a picture of a wolf chasing a boy. And that was Canada, chasing a cold boy. And that was what we thought was going on outside of there. And Florida was the greatest place you could go in the world. If somebody went to Florida and they came back to school and had a shirt on and said Florida, you were like,
oh man, you killed it.
They are so rich.
Totally.
That's nice. You guys would drive all the way from Illinois down to Florida?
Yeah, we have relatives in Ohio. I go see my grandfather, had a little farm.
What kind of animals did they have over there?
He just had cows. I remember.
I like cows. They're warm.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, I was in first grade, and we were studying the Pilgrims. And, the Pilgrims were all in black and white. And so when we drove from the farm to go see my grandfather, I never saw him much, but when you get to the smaller roads, they're this narrow. You can't get around. There's just two lanes, and those country roads are smaller roads. And we were behind Amish. I'd never seen Amish people.
Oh yeah,
never knew.
Time travelers.
I thought they were pilgrims. Wow. So you had a bunch of kids in black and white in the back of the carriage, kind of staring at us you couldn't break eye contact. Because they're looking right at you.
Yeah.
And they're fucking slow, bro. They're not moving. This horse is not excited. And we're sitting behind them. We had a Lincoln Town Car or something my dad was driving. And it was so slow going. And I remember going, why won't these pilgrims get out of our way? Oh. And my dad lost his mind. He pulled the car over and took my head off. You're no better than these people. Who are you to talk like that about someone? But he didn't realize, I really thought they were pilgrims.
Wow.
I really thought that was a pilgrim because I couldn't even understand.
Of course.
What? These people living, not touching electricity. You know what I mean? But my dad's great and my mom, but they were real keen on, making sure that you were, I think because they moved me to a nicer area, they were real big on making sure I wasn't, feeling better than anybody. But I think he got that one wrong. I think he thought I was making fun of these Amish people. I didn't know what they were.
Yeah. You're this could be Christopher Columbus's children or whatever over here. And they just, they're all hopped up on cheese curds and they're slowing down.
They're slow as fuck and we can't get around them.
Dude, that's hilarious, bro. Yeah, that's kind of what we had in our classroom.
We were super pro-America too. Everything was. It was taught in that way.
The Pledge
of
Allegiance.
I thought was good. Hell yes.
Me too.
I liked it. By the way, I love it.
I did too.
Yeah.
Well, it kept us together. It was one thing you had in common. It was if you, at a certain point, if you don't have anything in common, if you take away things that people have in common, then they don't have anything in common.
I still feel the same way.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's the best out there. Not that it's perfect. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't think I don't know how much control everyone even has over it. But I still love the idea of it.
Well, a lot of people are going to homeschool now too. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's more parents have switched to homeschooling now than even during COVID.
I did some of it.
You did it?
My daughter in first grade, we did it. I did some, I would put
that's easy to teach though, dude. Try one of the harder grades.
You did. I hired a lady that was good. Yeah. But I get a curriculum, and then I'd have pick a curriculum that I like. I had a lady. But the first year she was by herself, which she'd look at me when I'd leave her in the classroom fuck this. No one wants to be sitting by themselves. So then I found a public hybrid school where she would go 2 days a week. And then I moved her to a local Catholic school, and now she goes to a big public high school, and she's doing great.
Nice.
But for all the same reasons, you start looking at this stuff and figuring that you want to try to give education that is not so drowning and beating them down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not really exactly. I mean, let me think about beating them down.
Well, meaning everything was taught from a place for a while, like pointing out everything bad, and you can't say this, or you can't feel this way, or so much guilt education.
Yeah.
And, oh, you're bad to feel this way or that way. And so I thought it's just too heavy. And also like just a hatred of anything. And I always, like it, an optimism, positive. And why not share different ideas? Why not have differencing of opinions and create an environment where you can talk about different things?
Yeah. It feels like there's a lot, like kids were just feeling bad about themselves, or like we did this, or our people
Lesson
did this.
one.
It's like, what are we doing?
I'd go to my kids and say, when I would get stuff, I'd say, this is not the history of how this shit started. This is not real. We didn't invent any of this shit. So you'd have to kind of go, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because then you're kind of reprogramming, I bet.
Where are you at with marriage and kids?
I don't have a marriage right now.
Someone that you are serious with?
No, but I would like to get there, so it'll happen sometime soon.
What's your process for that?
That's been the problem. I just haven't really, I've been working so much that I didn't really focus on it much, but now I'm trying to focus on it more.
How old are you, if you don't mind?
I'm 45.
Yeah.
So I'm going to die. I'm not going to die soon, but I'm going to,
No, you got time. I think the thing that happens is we're so focused on the career and it takes up so much time. And it's easy to put that to the sidelines. But then as you get older, sometimes the joy or the things we got from the career aren't as high as they were. And you start to look at family and the idea of it and say that would be fun.
Yeah.
So you take kind of the same approach that you take towards your career, and you start to put those ideas on meeting somebody.
Yeah.
And then you start to work at it in the same kind of way. And I think, my opinion, sometimes what are the things I'm doing that are good? What's not good? What's a good thing to bring to a relationship? What's not? Working on yourself in a weird way, you'll come in contact with somebody more than I got to go to the right class or go out during the day. It's more about doing that kind of work on yourself. And then I think you'll kind of attract somebody in a similar mindset. But I would say don't put it off. Just focus on it a little bit in the same way that you've done with your career.
Did you have to do that in your, like?
Yeah, I got to a point like you did, and at first I thought, maybe you don't get all the cards in life. Like maybe I was so not focused on this.
Right, it just doesn't work out.
That now I'm older, and I wish I would have gotten started sooner. But then I thought, I want to ask God for those years back. Like I can get those years better than I would have had them if I'm asking for them now, because now I'm wanting that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now that you want it, you say, why can't I have it now in whatever way it looks for you at 45?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you're right. I think the more I just keep realizing it's not me, like, because sometimes they're like, I don't really want to go out or go do this thing or something, but maybe I'll meet somebody, right? And maybe but then it's a lot of times I'm still meeting somebody with the same kind of, I'm showing up with some of the same problems that that have prevented me. So I think you're right about, instead of like out there metal detecting, maybe stay home and work on the magnet a little bit.
But I think do it with grace too. You can say, I don't want to do this. This would be better. What do I look? And also I think you go, what do I want in a person that I'm going to be married to? What do I want and what don't I want? Like just thinking about it. It's almost like the same as a stand-up. What kind of venues do I want to play? What kind of podcast? What do I want to do? And by making those decisions, you can manifest something you're excited about.
I think I'm a good mom. That's what I want to have. A wife that's a good mom. That's probably the number one thing.
Yeah.
Did your wife have to introduce you to her dad or whatever, like they do in the movies or whatever?
They were I met them pretty quickly. I did call him and say, I'm going to ask her to marry, and I think he was appreciative of it, but they weren't as much like that. I was raised like that.
Yeah.
Were you?
No, dude. There was like a lot of domestic abuse in our area and people like hiding drugs in each other's, bedrooms and stuff like that. So it was more.
But those are relationships that aren't going well.
Yeah, pretty much. Or
right.
Just,
But I'm saying you would want to, the family.
Yeah. I would like to have like a family. I'm okay with like people fighting at night before they go to bed a little bit.
Show me a normal family, I'll show you a liar. Everyone's going to go through their bullshit. No one's like fucking killing it. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their shit they fight about. There's days anybody's mad at anybody, so that's never going to go away. You're just trying to aim it a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just shoot a little bit in a little bit. I just want my arrow to end at least in a different area.
Yeah.
But dude, yeah, I remember one time we were so mad at our mom and we were like crying. We are all crying that we tried to like put all of our tears in like a little jar and we are going to take them to the police and be like, look what's happening at the house. Bro. But they won't stay in there. They, like in the morning they were gone or whatever.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember that. I remember us like...
Were you real tight with your mom?
No, we weren't that tight, but we're tighter now.
That's good.
Yeah, I just went and surprised her for Valentine's Day the other day.
That's nice.
We had a nice time, dude.
You have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got a couple brothers and sisters.
Close?
It's gotten better over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got?
Same. So older sisters. And
you were the boy?
I was the youngest, yeah.
And they were older sisters?
Yeah.
No. Did they ever have friends come over and you were just like ogling or whatever? Or would you put on
a
tuxedo?
Like five, they were 5 or 6 years older. So
dude,
no,
that's the best.
I would sometimes get thrown under the bus to look cool for the older friends. You know, like you'd hang out and play, and then when the older friends would come, you weren't included.
Oh, but Vince,
that's normal
here.
shit.
Yeah, go hide, Vince.
Yeah.
Did they call you Vince, or what'd they call you?
They called me Vince if they weren't mad at me. Then they call you anything. We fight like crazy younger. You'd be hot, and then you'd be friends, and you love each other. You know, like anything.
Yeah.
You'd really go at it when you go. Did you have this? Sometimes when you get in a fight with your siblings, it's really like a game of tag. You'd be so pissed, and you'd hit somebody, but then you'd be afraid because now you got them. So then they'd turn around mad,
so
and now they try to come to get you real bad, and you were trying to get to the door to shut it. And then if they got you, it would go the other way.
Yeah.
So it's like whoever got the other one hard last is kind of how the fights would go.
Yeah, it would end when everybody brought it to mom. And then seeing kids run around their mom is one of the funniest things, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're hiding. It's so funny when you watch a kid with their mom sometimes and they're just like, you know, they're moving in between the moms. Like they're just running, or, you know, they're all like, or they're fighting around the mom. That kind of shit's fun.
Or even how kids play hide and seek.
Yeah.
Like an ostrich, their ass will stick out, but their head will be behind a curtain. You ever seen kids play hide and seek? Yeah.
Oh, dude, sometimes a kid will just sit there and cover his eyes.
They'd be laughing wildly.
Yeah, dude, we could see you, dude.
Yeah. Thank God there's not a kidnapper after the kid.
Yeah, we didn't have, I think we had a decent amount of, like, they used to have a law that they would put, like if you was like a sex offenders or whatever, children, sex offenders, you had to go around and go door to door. Right? Which was the worst because we lived at home. Our mom was working. So it would just be, these guys would come and they'd be like, hey, I have to let you know I live in the area. I'm a sex offender. It would just be us kids.
I live in the area. I'm into super young guys. Just letting you know. Mom.
But mom would be gone. Yeah. And that was like at every house. I'm like, well, who put this rule together?
Yeah. Now it's on an app.
Yeah, that's easier
freaky.
now.
I know, but it's weird because you're like, oh, geez, this guy over here.
This is only 60
Maybe
feet away.
Better not know him. We just walk around. We were always outside going around. Nobody paid attention to us.
Dude, yeah, that was living at that was the best. We had this one kid named Kirby that tried to crawl through the ditch culvert one time, and the government had to come and get him or whatever. I remember
the government had to come get him. That government man came down to do some work.
Dude, shit like that was the best. We had this dude named Milford that would drive the school bus, and they were always coming and checking to see if he was drunk. It was just like, but there was nothing like that being like.
We find out stuff later that a teacher molested people and stuff. We didn't know.
Yeah.
You find that out later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that kind of took a turn.
Yeah.